Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Heart to Heart Astrology Podcast. And we are already on episode number 4. And special congratulations to my amazing grandmother, Caitlin, here, who has just been QSG certified, which stands for Quantum Soul Guidance. You are now a certified practitioner, so yay!
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so happy for you.
Exciting.
And
It's exciting. And I'm looking forward to when you are. And then we can do the big announcement together. The grandma and granddaughter do it together.
yeah, just like this podcast,
Yeah.
just like talking about what we love most, astrology.
Yep. The US to the UK. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm well on my way. I'm well on my way in my studies too. But yes, we have a lot of exciting things to be sharing. Of course, there's so much, as always, going on in the stars. And our big topic today that we're going to be talking about, amongst some other things that we're going to add into it, is the Pluto retrograde, which has already begun by the time you watch this video. It started on May 2nd, and it's going to be lasting all the way till October 11th. So there's going to be a lot of different things happening during this time. It's 2 degrees in Aquarius. So you might want to check in your own personal natal chart where you have 2 degrees or anywhere kind of near or close to see where this could be impacting you. So let's talk about what this actually means. So what is this Pluto retrograde? So this is going to have us revisiting anything that's been buried under the surface, whether it's our emotions on a personal level, or I was even picking up too, collectively, any unusual cover-ups through media, whether social media or even news media we might see. So we're currently in the beginning of it, and I personally have already seen the effects of this in the public eye. So I will let you decide, for yourselves, what celebrities and things like that it's impacting. Of course, it will make a big impact too on the United States with a big election year coming as well. So we will see different things coming up with that. So this will be a very intense time, especially for those with wealth, because Pluto does deal with money and wealth. So those with wealth who maybe have misused their wealth or even spending power or any toxic connections here, this is going to bring those issues to light here. So although this can be challenging, this will actually be a blessing in disguise. So it's basically here to serve anyone dealing with this for your highest good. So you just think of it that way. So I know it can sound, like a lot of bad things may be suppressed, but it's actually here to shed a light and bring attention to these things for our highest good here. So again, a blessing in disguise. It is making a square. This is an aspect called a square, which is basically this obstacle to Venus in beautiful Taurus here. This is only till May 5th. So by the time you watch this video, this aspect will have already happened. So you can reflect on this now to see, has there been any relationship transformations for some of you? Relationship or connections, anything that has changed during this time. Was there anything you wanted to add in about that too, Caitlin?
Well, if this is a good time, I could talk about the fixed star alignment. Does that sound good to go into that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So Adria had mentioned about Pluto and Aquarius is at 2 degrees, and it's conjunct Aquila, which is a constellation, and it is Altair is the fixed star. And in a while, Adri will talk quite a bit about Altair, but I'd like to talk a little bit more about the constellation Aquila. So the last time Pluto and Aquarius aligned with this fixed star Altair in the constellation of Aquila, by the way, Aquila is Latin for eagle, okay? But it was 1777. Now, Does that ring a bell? That 1776 was our Constitution. So this was during the American Revolutionary War. So when I think of Aquila, I think of the qualities of the powerful eagle totem. And the eagle is a beautiful symbol for our country. I think of qualities like keen vision, great heights, indomitable willpower, and seeking truth. So the eagle has the ability to zero in on its target and capture whatever is in its line of sight. So also the constellation of Aquila is associated in Roman mythology with the god Jupiter, and in Greek mythology with Zeus. And both are often depicted as the eagle carrying a thunderbolt. Maybe you've seen these pictures. And this, of course, is symbolizing their great power. Many say that Zeus became the eagle, but there's others who are saying that he would send an eagle. And in this one story, he sent an eagle that captured and kidnapped a young Trojan prince, and his name was Ganymede. And it was just to have him become a cupbearer for him and all the other gods and goddesses. And Zeus made him immortal because he wanted to preserve his beauty. So he made him part of the constellation of Aquarius, which is the water bearer. So there you go, the cup bearer bringing the water, the cups of water. And it's like a star cluster, but it can barely be seen. So I share this here because there's a hidden message that over time, beauty on the outside may dim, yet beauty on the inside is ageless and eternal. So that's something to think about. And we're going to talk about this. Adriana and I are going to discuss in a few minutes here, but I want to share another story. I love mythology. So does Adriana. We both do. So there's a story that may contribute to this importance of by detaching from the ego. And this story is Perseus, to do with the constellation of Perseus. And which is happening again, as Adri said, through October 11th, we have this Pluto retrograde. But Perseus is being, the constellation is being activated during this time. So the fixed star Algol is conjunct Jupiter in Taurus as well. And then the fixed star Capulus is conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So what does this mean? What is this from a spiritual point of view? So the story is Perseus, Medusa, and most importantly, Athena, whom all metaphorically speaking may represent different parts of our ego. So in the traditional story, Perseus cuts off the head of Medusa at the bequest of goddess Athena. And I want to look at this very metaphorically. So we all have each of these ego aspects within us. Perseus is the hero aspect, blindly doing what Athena, the manipulator aspect, ordered him to do to Medusa, who plays the victim aspect. So all three of these live within us, and they can vary in degrees within us. There's nobody that is 100% one or the other. We have them all. If we have one that is more intense and have one that is less, then another person in our life plays that role big time. So it's always better to look inside at ourselves and work with these aspects. Otherwise, they come out on the big stage out here, and then we have a lot to deal with in the world around us. So what can we learn from this story? Both stories, really. The astrological aspects of Taurus are what we value, Uranus, a desire for total freedom, and Capulus, of what we waste and destroy. So just thinking about that, it's like if we don't really value our freedom, and we're, taking it for granted, we're wasting it away in essence, we could lose our freedom. So this is a really important concept right now. Jupiter is how we progress. And then Algol is representing our vulnerabilities. So many years ago, my guides gave me an inspiring affirmation of the divine feminine, which I feel sums up simply the spiritual healing that may take place when we look deeply within and transform these aspects of ourselves. So here it is. I am divine humility, embracing vulnerabilities as true soul strengths in growth, journey, and purpose for the very highest good. So I feel this encapsulates all those aspects when we live this way and can bring great healing. So when we look at ourselves with inner eagle eyes, so looking not out here, the eagle looking at the mountain out here, what about the mountain inside? And we may have mountains of trauma, memories, and secrets that are super deep within. And they become the saboteurs in our lives. They come up, they just come up out of nowhere. This mountain just like whoosh, takes us over. And maybe we're too focused on how we look and the egocentric things in our lives, looking for outside approval, validation, acceptance. That's one way that we can become so overly self-conscious and get stuck in dogma. Do we victimize ourselves with our own negative self-talk? We can't, if we're always listening to what everybody else is saying, we don't realize what we are saying inside of ourselves. So is there possibly an inner revolution or war going on within? Or could that be coming with all these energies? And I really think it's coming. I don't think a lot of people are conscious of it yet, but it's on its way. And then we could even have previous incarnations from our galactic heritage. And this can be stored in our cellular memories. And these things can rise up from and bringing in these patterns that are affecting us. So we play it out like we're actors in the drama of that pattern that may have happened in Orion or may have happened in the Pleiades or wherever. And we're playing it out here on the real stage, acting it out. And all the actors in our stories are could be very well part of a much previous story. So in essence, to sum this up, and we'll talk a little bit about these questions, spiritual mastery often requires a big do-over in our lives. It's a huge do-over, and it's from the inside out. So what are you willing to let go of? Are there habits, patterns that no longer serve you? And maybe they're harming you or harming others in your lives. So let's dive in, Adri. What after everything I shared there, I know it's a lot.
No, that was great. It really
Is
was.
there anything that stood out to you that you might want to talk about?
I think I think the biggest word, maybe the word of the day here is freedom, like you said too. And also doing what serves you, what is for your highest good, as you were saying too.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. And it's that ability to embrace our vulnerabilities. And I don't think a lot of people, they think the ego goes, this is a weakness. This is something terrible. But the soul goes, this is an opportunity to learn. This is an opportunity to face a challenge and become stronger.
Mm.
So if we think about our vulnerabilities as true soul strengths, that
Mm-hmm.
changes everything. So say we're afraid to speak in front of a crowd. Um, there's many ways to overcome that. And the soul will eventually figure out. You can prepare and go ahead of time and sit in the auditorium and visualize yourself on the stage. And this is a desensitization process that a person could use. The ego won't figure that out. The soul even possibly astral travels the night before and already has felt into where they're going to be. And I think some of the best orators and speakers, actors, etc., that get on stage, so to speak, do that. We have a whole nother life on the other side that's happening all the time. We're not really sleeping. We think we are.
Yeah.
That's why we wake up and we're so exhausted.
Yeah, that's
That's
why we're not fully rested.
we're off playing in the astral
Um,
realms. So yes, I feel um very much that this Pluto retrograde is, like you had said earlier too, this is deepening all of our opportunities to do some super duper healing work. And if people have been keep putting it off, keep putting it off,
Mm-hmm.
keep giving themselves a pass, so to speak, like I'll work on that later. I'm too absorbed in this going on in my life right now. And then we're playing a control game. But what are you really controlling? Because we can't control anything other than our reaction to something. Nobody can control or stop a tsunami arriving in their lives, but you have the power of how you're going to react to that tsunami. What are you going to do? And I don't know if I mentioned this in our past video, but to me, Japan, like when that happened, they rose to the occasion. The people came together and were helping one another. I saw videos of towns, the whole townspeople helping each other and lifting with a big grunt together to
Mm-hmm.
lift everything up. That's unity
Yeah.
consciousness at its finest way. So I see possibilities of that coming in with that freedom energy that you brought up earlier too, of what that had spoke to you.
And
So,
I was going to add too, when you talk about healing,
mhm,
especially with this being a retrograde in
mhm,
Pluto, it's going to bring up all these things, whether it's toxic patterns, behaviors, anything like that, anything that's been hidden.
mhm.
This is the god of the underworld. That's who Pluto is, right? He's bringing these things to surface, and I'll talk about soon how his brother Zeus, you know, is basically pairing up with him to help bring these things to light with Altair. I'll go into that in a minute, but my point with this I'm trying to make is that healing takes time, right? It's a process.
Oh
And
my God, lifetime,
with yes,
lifetime, buddy.
lifetime, yeah. And it's gonna feel with the retrograde, it is gonna feel delayed because it's going that backwards motion, but it's still gonna bring it up and you still will have to face those things. It's
Oh,
bring
and the retrograde, I'm glad you brought that up. The retrograde, I feel, intensifies everything. It brings
yes.
it closer to us
Yes, definitely.
because it's not moving so fast. Mercury, like for example, with a Mercury retrograde, it loves to move so fast.
Yeah, we
Pluto,
just came out of that one.
yeah, I know. Thank God. Almost out of the woods, the
Oof.
shadow period till May 13th. But yeah, the Pluto moves extremely slow. So it's going to be even slower. And it just feels like
Hmm.
everything becomes denser and denser.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah.
And so, but then we can deal with it. If we see it as an immovable mountain, we won't be able to move it. But if we see it, it comes to mind one of Jesus' parables. If we see it as a mustard seed, we can just pick it up and move it. So it's how we perceive things is huge,
Hmm.
absolutely huge here. And if we keep reliving those traumas over and over, we're never going to be done with them. We have to at some point say, what have I learned here? How can I grow from this experience? The experience is no longer happening. That's in the past. The past doesn't exist anymore. So what's in the present? What uh, can I bring in and discern from what I've learned to put in my life now that's going to make me stronger? That's going to bring in that true soul strength. And it takes humility. It really does. That's the word my guides had given me. And with
Mm.
true divine feminine energy, that's what it is. It's humility. And it's nothing to do with the word humiliation at all. It is
Mm.
nothing to do with that. This is a form of compassion that is so sacred and high spiritual energy. I truly believe that, this type of humility. And it comes through the divine feminine. Absolutely. Whether you're a man or a woman, it comes through that part of your connection to that. And that's the part of the growth.
Yeah.
And
Good. Yeah.
look at me in San Francisco over here.
Yeah. You match perfectly with it. Good
Hey, you
coordination.
have your teacup today.
Yeah. Have you my unicorn
Cheers.
teacup peeked up there?
Cheers.
I'm having a late night cup of tea to keep me
It
keep me
is an
sane.
afternoon, yes.
Yeah. Oh,
What
and
did you? talk
Happy
about?
May the 4th, by the way. Happy
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Wars Day to my fellow Star Wars nerds. I have my Star Wars shirt on today. I know we always show our shirts on this
Oh, yeah.
podcast. So I got my
Oh, I
R2
love it. May the
with
fourth
the
be with.
boards. Yeah, by the time this video is up, it'll already be past,
It
but
doesn't matter because
fitting.
time doesn't exist, honey. It's
Yeah,
it
exactly.
exists.
That's right.
Everything's current at the moment you're watching it.
Uh,
You're
and
gonna get from this video what you need to hear the most. That's just what happens.
oh yeah, and this, this stuff we're talking about, it's not like it's just a 1 day thing. So yeah, strap in.
Do you want to talk about Altair and then I'll finish up with the new moon? Does that sound good?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so with Altair here, so Pluto retrograde, it's making a conjunction, basically pairing up with this fixed star Altair, which is part of the Aquila constellation that Caitlin was just talking about. And it's represented as, yeah, the eagle. So, of course, what comes to mind right away is um, freedom. So I'm going to actually share my screen. Give me a There's Altair making that aspect here with Pluto here. So for those of you who are into astrology, here's a little visual here so you can see it, along with some other fixed stars too that's going on here. It shows all the conjunctions here. But basically, this alignment is very key here, as this is a very bold and bright star, and it's going to illuminate and light up things like we were talking about that Pluto is going to reveal. So shedding a light on the darkness, okay, whether it's toxic patterns, hidden motives, even deceit, even addictions for those, who might be even struggling with that, etc. So
But
Altair,
give me 1 second. I'm just
sure,
noticing the vertex is close as well.
yes,
And
yeah.
and so that would show karmic patterns too.
Mm,
Okay. Yeah.
good
I'm
point.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, but
That
it
no,
just
that's thank you for pointing that out.
I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to look at this chart, so just seeing that I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, no
Yes.
worries. Yeah. This is the vertex might move, but this is the 2nd of May when this started, this chart here. Now Altair will stay obviously conjunct with Pluto. But the vertex might change. But yeah, that starting off could definitely be karmic stuff happening. So
That
thank
would
you
bring
for mentioning.
the karmic pattern up to the surface to be working with. It would be coming up to the surface. And then
Yes.
even if that vertex moves, it's still the pattern's there because Pluto goes so slow. So once Pluto has a hold of it, bing,
Hmm.
it'll be there for a while.
Especially with it being Capricorn too,
Yes.
with karma. Yeah, 'cause that's Saturn there.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
thank you for pointing that out.
Sure, sure.
So, yeah, so I was thinking not only the eagle here, but I was also thinking of like the phoenix rising from the ashes here.
Yes.
Okay, so that's part of that healing. So keep the faith, as healing may not be felt instantly, as these things have their process, and the retrograde will, like I mentioned earlier, delay that progress. So just
Mhm.
ride it out and embrace your own inner transformation for your own highest good here. Altair brings this energy, like I said, of freedom and independence, especially from the grasp of any manipulations. Okay. Uh, and I mentioned that word freedom just the other week. We watched the movie Braveheart, and that is one of the things
Yeah.
he says to that movie. I won't spoil the ending or anything, but at one point in the movie, he yells it, and it's a very sad scene, but he yells freedom. So I kept thinking about that when I
Yes.
was looking
Yes.
into this. And that movie was based off of some true events for the Scottish people trying to gain their freedom. So
Mhm.
those, types of things, these are deeply rooted things. And
Oh,
even
yes.
as you mentioned too, through our star lineage as well, whether through Orion, Lyra, that's a whole other thing we could get into. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of this is deeply seated. Um, so yeah, this alignment will have many of us questioning our freedoms in various aspects in our lives. Our bad patterns or toxic connections, or behaviors taking away your sense of freedom. Take decisive action with this energy from Altair, okay, to truly honor yourself. So I also was going to bring up about the Venus-Uranus conjunction to fixed star Capulus, if I could add on to that as well here. Yes, there it is. So this is occurring on May 18th, but again, the energy is going to be, felt before and around this. So, but can be very intense on the actual date here. So yes, Capulus, part of the Perseus constellation, which Caitlin spoke of. This is located where the hand of Perseus wields his sword to cut off Medusa's head in the mythology. So as mentioned before, like the sword he wields, toxic connections will be cut. On a collective level, we will have to take care with this power, as it is not to be used to victimize others, nor ourselves. Okay. And I put a little leaf to cover Perseus's.
I
So
love
we don't get
visual.
flagged. Just had a, just in case, a little censorship. So not to make us go blind here. So Capulus is in fact,
It's a little leaf too.
yeah, just
Sorry.
just a little one. I needed to shrink it down a bit. Sorry, I have to throw in some jokes sometimes. Yeah.
Of course we do. I like
It's just fun, yeah. But Capulus is, yeah, associated with blindness as well. So what
Yes.
are we not seeing in our relationships or our connections? Are you wearing rose-colored glasses? Or is it the opposite? Are you distracted by your own shadow self, as the psychologist Carl Jung talks about, is our shadow self? Are you distracted by that aspect of yourself and missing out on meaningful connections here? Especially because this deals with Venus, this,
Mhm.
this conjunction.
Yes.
So not all these things will apply to everyone, but we can expect the unexpected, especially with Venus pairing up with the freedom-seeking but quirky planet Uranus.
Mhm.
So happy surprises, I also noted, can also occur
Mhm.
with this. So it's time for blindfolds to be taken off to those who are wearing one,
Mhm.
and we will see that at this time.
Well, I was going to come in and talk a little bit about the new moon, which is
Perfect.
coming up on May 7th. So we're going to backtrack a little bit. But it's 11:22 p.m. on the 7th of May, 2024. That's Eastern Daylight Time. So new moons are about fresh starts, planting new seeds for a new garden and tending to its new growth. Taurus is all about substance, value, and what is real. So it's reality check time, especially since we've got a stellium with the sun, moon, Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus all in Taurus.
Wow.
Mercury is going to jump in to this stellium stable, so to speak, on May 15th. So we'll have like six all together. But the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction energies will be even more emphasized in May. So the opportunity for big changes and innovation are still abounding. And the Taurus sun and new moon are trining Vega, which is the fixed star, Vega, Chiliac, and the M57 ring nebula, which are all part of the Lyra constellation. And you'd mentioned Lyra before, and yes, it's very much a part of this time.
Hmm.
Lyran star seeds carry many Taurin-like traits, such as strong willpower, determination, nurturing, being a nature lover, neediness for adventure, neediness, you gotta have it, and being a master of wit and humor. So what the zodiac sign of Taurus and the Lyran star seed energies have in common the most, to me, is being a builder. So this is a time for building. And what are you choosing to build? What about building a more promising relationship or partnership? Or maybe you want to build a new family. Maybe you'd like to get pregnant, have children. Or maybe you're going to birth your own new business. Maybe a lot of people have been sitting on that because the energies have been so stuck. But this is a really good time right now. You may have already planted seeds and sprouts have risen up in your ideas for your business or your family. This can be the part of gardening that many of us don't like to look at, but we have to do a little weeding out process. Most people hate to weed. I've never met anybody that likes to weed. If there's anybody out there, please come over to my house because we got a lot of weeds in our garden. But so when you figure out what you need to weed out, maybe looking at, is it doubting yourself or letting unfounded fears sabotage your movement forward? That's, I think, one of the biggest weeds that blocks healthy root growth. So the cosmic dance of the stars are saying right now, this first half of this month, to go for it. Go for it. Get past your fears. Start living your truth, being your truth.
Just will quickly add before I pull my tarot message. Yeah, I think all that earth energy with Taurus is going to really help to ground things during this time so that things don't go flying
Yeah.
off the handle.
We have a second video coming up that will talk about how we are going to be leaving the earth. There's going to
Oh
be
boy.
the second half of, or a little more than the second half of 2024 is very up in the air. So I'm excited to
Mm.
talk about our second video too.
Yeah, we'll touch on the full moon too. So I'll be talking about the full moon, and you have some good stuff we'll share there too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
juicy.
so yes, I will pull our tarot message. So I think I have just enough time to pull
Okay.
it live for you guys. I thought it would be fun to pull it live. Okay, so I'm using this very cute deck from my husband here. Oh, there it is, the Tarot of Mugi. And it's based off of this illustrator's either pet mouse or pet rat. He's very cute.
Oh.
Very cute card. So to bring some lighthearted energy to this.
Mhm.
So let's see, shall I ask about Pluto retrograde? Get a card on that?
Yes,
What we
I
can
think so.
expect? Yeah, I think that sounds good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, agreed. So what can we expect from the Pluto retrograde, which will last till October 11th? What can we expect from the Pluto retrograde, which will last till October 11th? Got more than one card.
Ah,
Oh, there's the Aquarius energy here. So
okay.
the star card. The star
Wow,
is Aquarian energy. So Pluto is in Aquarius. So basically
absolutely.
solidifying that.
I'm going to be talking about that in our second video too. Actually, that's perfect.
Okay, we have, yeah, there's a lot of things going on here. So I'll start with
Also,
this card. Oh, go ahead.
in Ganymede that I talked about, that's part of the Aquarius constellation too, where Ganymede is. So
Oh,
that's interesting.
nice.
That came up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the 10 of Pentacles here. So stability is coming in, financial stability, even if it's, kind of slow pace, slow and steady. Like you mentioned too, with businesses, if you were
Yep.
trying to, we talked about that in our previous video too. You're going to start seeing the benefits and the rewards of this coming in
Yep.
during this whole period. Okay. And then we have 4 of Cups here. So kind of pondering on different offers here. So it's a very meditative energy. You're really taking your time with things before you kind of jump the gun on things,
Mhm.
which is always good. And then Page of Pentacles, new opportunities. And that's where that
Yes.
rewards comes in, that success comes in. So new
Love that.
opportunities
Yeah.
on the way.
Beautiful layout. Absolutely.
Yes, so we'll just wrap it up now. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you in our next one soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.